Namaskar. Today is International Women's Day. Sheila Venture proudly brings you back a series of the journeys of women who have defied odds, challenges, and rode the wave of uncertainty, fear, and yet come out in a very accomplished and successful persona. We celebrate journeys of these multitaskers, kind and compassionate women who constantly strive in their everyday lives. I am an occupational therapist, and my name is Babita Patnaik. And as I was browsing through the accomplishment and journey of these ordinary women with extraordinary abilities, I came across a book and amazing articles online. I got very intrigued and contacted this amazing woman. And here we are, Dr. Antara Mukherjee. She teaches English literature, presently posted in Durgapur Government College in West Bengal. She loves to read, write, travel, and spends most of her me time by doing little things that makes us happy. Welcome to Sheila Ventures, and I'm wishing you a very happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patnaik, for having me here today. Thank you.
As I was going through the book and some of your online publication, I would like to just ask you a few questions about how this idea of writing about this wonderful came about. And I would like to mention that this was also a long struggle through the COVID times that you have triumphed. And that's basically what this show is all about today.
Well, this has been a very, very personal journey where I don't know how far I have succeeded, but tried to cope up with a personal crisis by paying homage to my father, who passed away during the first wave of COVID, uh, partially undiagnosed. Um, one sheds one sickness in books. Having been, teaching literature for over 2 decades now, uh, this may sound a little bit cliche, but uh, art is long and life is short. And when I was trying to cope up with whatever sufferings that, as a family, we were all going through. This thought of, preparing a book for my father was the only solace that saved me from the crisis that I was going through. Um, as a daughter, I have always been under his shadow, as normally, we have been. And from my childhood, what influenced me a lot as a child was this book, which was gifted to me at a very early stage of my life, Letters from a Father to His Daughter. So you can say that this book, which I, tried to pay tribute to my father, is a compilation of essays from a daughter to the father. That's it.
Uh, I would like to touch upon the title of the book. That was very. It was quite catching to me. You said, "Book is the best healer, not time." And
Yes.
can we touch upon that?
Well, as a person, I am not that ritualistic. And my ritual, which I could do, was to uh, do something for my father, which he wanted me to do for a long, long time. As you are aware, that I teach English literature, but my father always wanted me to pursue Bangla, both language and literature, at the same time. So when I thought of this book, the language that I chose was Bangla and not English. It was a far, far challenging task, though I am a Bengali myself, but I haven't done any book on Bangla before. I have edited books in English, but it was a huge challenge for me. But still, I took it up because I thought that something which I neglected for, again, for over 2 decades, and I couldn't do as long as my father was alive. Now when I'm thinking of it, I must try to do it in Bangla. And that's how the process of healing started. When a family crisis strikes you, then you are initially overwhelmed. You don't know how to react. Same thing happened with me. uh, and I had an ailing mother to take care of. So it wasn't a very good time for me to shed my personal tears. In fact, I didn't get any time to shed my personal tears. But the wound that was there needed to heal. And visiting a therapist, I know I'm talking to an occupational therapist, but visiting to a therapist would not have helped me. I knew. Plus I have a profession to run, I have a family to run, and there are lots of responsibilities. So I tried to find my own cure, and the cure which I found was going back to one of my favorite authors, and that is D.H. Lawrence. Again, coming back to that quotation, one sheds one sickness in books. And I tried to write, design, edit, compose. It was a mammoth task because I was preparing a chronicle of the time, a time in which we were living. But it was essential for me to remain occupied and creatively occupied at the end of the day, and gradually oversee something with the hope and ambition that my father is watching over me and is telling me and guiding me that you need to finish this task before something bad happen. And here I would like to mention that I was very lucky that my mother uh, bore extreme pain, but she waited for me to complete the book. The book was published, and only after that she passed away. So I hope that uh, she is now with my father, and you know they're happy that finally I could do it.
Thank you. My sincere condolences for your losses, especially being a kid, whether it's a woman, a son. Loss of our parents are the biggest losses that can never be recovered. Yet, in these difficult times during COVID, you were a caregiver, you took care of your parents, and then now you look upon with pride and accomplishing writing a book based on his wishes is definitely worth bringing to the rest of the world. I would like to state a few things as a therapist. When we are in pain, we get it within ourselves and we have this self pity of, oh, why it happened to me, and we question ourselves. But then you took a different route of creativity. You took a different challenge, which was much harder than what you were doing. And then this is where you are on the other side of the journey, which our journeys keep on continuing. Yet you are an accomplished author based on all the wishes of your father and, of course, their blessings. So I'm very proud of you for that kind of achievement. As I said, we are ordinary women, and all of us are ordinary, but then we become extraordinary ordinary only during the time of challenge. And
True.
this is the main reason Sheila Venture takes pride in bringing people like you. So, again, I just wanted to add this to our audience that every one of us have gone through real bad times where we lost a near and dear one in every family all across the world. But what did we do in that situation is what this Women's Day celebration is all about. My next question about the book would be as you stated, you are English professor and you did in Bangla. I definitely would like you to read an excerpt, and I know you also write poetry. So, anything you would like to share with our audience to
Um,
have a taste of it?
um, I'll come back to poems a little bit later on, as you say.
Mhm.
Uh, I would like to state that while doing the book, though it started off as a journey, as a personal journey, but it did achieve a state where I, tried to transcend the personal into the general. We must remember that the tragedy, which it's not only a personal tragedy. COVID robbed most of us, and in several ways. So it was, it is as if paying a homage to the lives lost. That was my secondary concern, if my primary concern was to pay tribute to my father. So when I was writing the editorial, it's a long editorial, I won't be able to read the entire editorial, but I would like to read the few lines with which I ended the editorial, so that you can really get the essence of the fact when I say that it is not only a personal loss, but it is also it's paying homage to the losses that happened. So here I go. I'll read it in Bangla. প্রথম তরঙ্গে তল হারিয়ে যখন আমি ব্যক্তিগত ধ্বংসস্তূপে বসে এমন এক জীবনের কথা ভাবি, যে জীবন একটি বারও মুখ না ফিরিয়ে চলে গেল, তখন আমার চারপাশে লেলিহান শিখার আঁচে জ্বলতে থাকা অজস্র চেনা অচেনা মানব জমিন আমাকে উন্মাদের গহ্বর থেকে উদ্ধার করে। যে আগুনে প্রিয়জনের সযত্ন লালিত মুখ পুড়িয়ে ছারখার করে দেবার সুযোগ পেয়েছি এই আকালেও, সেই আগুনকে ব্যবহার করতে করতে স্থির করি ক্ষয়িষ্ণু জীবনকে শিল্পে উৎসর্গ করার। এই গ্রন্থের ভাবনাকে প্রবল আস্কারা দিয়ে যারা নিঃশর্তে সামিল হয়েছেন আমার পিতৃতর্পণে, গ্রন্থের জন্মলগ্নে তাদের সবার সামনে কৃতজ্ঞতায় নতজানু হই। সকলের সম্মিলিত প্রয়াসে করোনাকালের এই দলিল তৈরির প্রচেষ্টায় আমার ব্যক্তিগত শোক তার নিজস্ব পরিসীমিত গণ্ডি অতিক্রম করে আরও অনেক দুঃখের পাশে গিয়ে বসে। মরিয়া মানুষের হৃদয় বিদারক মানবিক বিপর্যয় গাবর পৃথিবীর হাত ধরে ফিরে এসে শিল্পের ছাই চাপা আগুনে পুনর্বাসন চায়। আমি তখন বুকের ভিতর বৃষ্টির শব্দহীন ঝরে পড়ায় টের পাই জাতিস্বরের উপস্থিতি। তাই মহামারী অতিক্রম করা ভাঙাচোরা গল্পরা একফালি দস্তাবেজ রেখে গিয়ে আমায় জীবনতরীর সক্রিয় কাণ্ডারি বানায়। মন্দ মধুর হাওয়ায় ভেসে যেতে যেতে যারা এই মুহূর্তে নেই হয়ে দাঁড়িয়ে রয়েছে, তাদের সবার শ্বাস দুহাতে অঞ্জলি দিয়ে আজ এইখানে বসে ভাবি আমাদের সম্বল স্থির থাকা। So I ended the editorial with few lines from my favorite poet Shankho Ghosh. Of course, I am very fond of Bengali poetry, but what I felt at that time was to hold on to our patience, which was very important. We were impatient, we were broken, we were all beaten down, and if at one point of time we all of us had come to the edge of the brink of destruction, whether it is mental or physical or psychological or whatever it was. So it was essential that we hold on to the patience and to the belief that this too shall pass.
Um, Beautiful. It's very profound. It just touches the core. Um, I love the inclusiveness that you have shown in the editorial, where your sorrow touches every person's sorrow and loss, and that is this what this world is all about. Um, as we do yoga and meditation, it's yoga
True.
is joining, union. So when you have a personal loss, and every person who lost can read this book and go through the same journey of how much patience, how much perseverance is required to go through a pandemic together. And that's the whole reason why I would like to promote this book. And I would like you to please show the the book, if you could, for our audience. And would you like to let us know where it is available?
Yeah, this is designed by an exceptionally talented artist. His name is Arnab Chakraborty, and as you can see here, I'll just do this. This is COVID. He has practically drawn.
If you can
Can
bring
you
the
all
book to
see?
the, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go, a little bit
So
high.
he has drawn everything, from the nurses driving out to hard immunity and all, everything that was a part of our life. This is a Bengal perspective. I have focused on Bengal, and I hope that if not now, but maybe after few years, when there would be a search for primary resources for research purpose, I'm sure this is going to. I may sound overconfident, but I am sure that this is going to be a handy book for most of the researchers, at least, and also for people interested in social history. This is a compilation of articles. There are 45 articles, and the book consists of 8 sections. I have divided each section with a poem. I haven't mentioned explicitly that this section is this, that section is that. I have left it to the reader's perception, and I was pretty much happy because I know that my readers can identify just by reading the poem as to which section they're entering into. And the sections go like this. First of all, I have started with a scientific understanding of COVID. It was essential for me because, as you know, that there were so many misconceptions. There were so many practices which were intellectually and culturally shocking and challenging. Yet there were so many, ways of life that were being adopted. So I felt that somebody, a microbiologist who is an expert in this field, has written a wonderful introductory article on what this COVID-19 is all about, what are the vaccines and all, and detailed understanding of the virus. Then comes health, and I am extremely fortunate that I have doctors writing for me, health workers writing for me, and also ASHA workers writing for me. I wanted not tertiary materials, I wanted lived experiences. So they have written down their experiences, their problems, their failures, as well as their achievements during the time. Being an academician, naturally, the next section was education. And I've tried to include from primary education up till the university level. I have teachers, scholars, and students writing. The next section is very, very important. It is socio-economic infrastructure. Um, I have a person from the police writing, somebody from the banking sector writing for me. So COVID, it affected each and every strata of our lives. The next section which I wrote, or which I, compiled, was the have-nots, the working class. uh, we know how people walked all over India from one region to another region. So not only people who were walking, but there were other folk artists, there were weavers, there were men like who make the little handicrafts, the Mela people, everybody. So basically, the working class. There's a section on the working class. Then there is a section on middle class leisure. how we were gardening, we were preparing dalgona coffees, we were doing all lots sorts of things, traveling and sorts of things. So how they looked at COVID. So there, that angle. Then we have COVID of the mind, which is naturally your area, the psychological uh, aspects of the senior citizens, the the students, uh, those who are living on the streets, the destitutes, and everything. Finally, I came to culture, how COVID affected the culture industry in Bengal, from theater to films uh, to the singers, to the backgrounds, to the memes, the creation of memes, the creation of, let us say, various illustrations and all. And I must mention that the book did not end negatively. It ended with the songs of survival. So, if you allow me, I can read one of the poems, which is written by a contemporary poet called Shukanto De, who has beautifully, what do I say? So expressed my feelings after reading the book, my feelings towards the venture, and also about the section. Shall I? May I?
Yes, yes, you may, please. Go ahead.
Okay. It's in Bangla again. Uh, বাবা চলে গেল করোনা কালে, শনি মঙ্গলবারে মাছ খেতে বলেছেন ঠাকুর শ্রীরামকৃষ্ণ। সেই দুদিনই মায়ের ডায়ালিসিস, দাদারা বিদেশে। মেয়েটা মুখাগ্নির আগুন নিয়ে ঘোরে, মাঝে মধ্যেই ছ্যাঁক শব্দ, জলের ফোঁটা জানান দিয়ে যায়। মেয়েটা একা হলেই মরা বাপ নীলচে ইংল্যান্ড লেটারের মতো উড়ে এসে পড়ে, আঙুলের সবুজ পান্নাটার দিকে তাকিয়ে মনে করার চেষ্টা করে ওটা পরানোর সময় ছেলে বন্ধুর সংখ্যা নাকি মন খারাপ কোনটা বেড়ে গেছিল। পাঁজি দেখে ব্রাহ্মণ এসে বলেছিলেন দোষ পাওয়ার কথা, অমন দু একটা দোষ তো মানুষ মাত্রই পায়, এসব ভেবে উড়িয়ে দিয়েছিল। তবু সংস্কার যায় না, না হয় ব্রাহ্মণ ভোজনটা করিয়েই দেবে। প্রথম পাতে স্বাস্থ্য, তারপর শিক্ষা, আমলাতন্ত্র, পুলিশ, লোকশিল্পী, ডোকরা, বাঁকুড়ার হাতি, ঘোড়া, যারা গান গাইতো, সিনেমা করতো বা ত্রাণ বিলি, রোগীকে হাসপাতালে নিয়ে যাওয়ার সময় ঝড় জলের রাত্রে দিন আনা অ্যাম্বুলেন্স চালক বলল, আপনার থেকে বেশি টাকা নিয়ে কি করব, দরকার হলে ডাকবেন, আসবো। পথশিশু, যৌনকর্মী, ভবঘুরে, আর না খাওয়াবই যখন, কি বলো বাবা, সব খাবার একটা থালায় দিয়ে রাখতে হলো ছাদে। ছি, আমার বাবা কি কাক। ভাবতে ভাবতেই একটা শঙ্খ চিল নেমে এলো আকাশ থেকে। সবাই চলে গেলে ফাঁকা বাড়িটা বিধবার সাদা থানের মতো নির্বাক। বাবা, বাবা, ফ্রক পরা একটা ছোট্ট মেয়ে লুকোচুরি খেলছে, শীত শীত করছে, বাবার জামাগুলোয় আর গরম নেই। ওয়ার্ড্রপ বন্ধ করতেই আয়না, রাত্রে শুতে যাওয়ার আগে নিজের মুখে গালে হাত বুলিয়ে ও রোজ দেখে নেয় বাবার আদর। So this has been, written by somebody who is not only involved with the book but is also very aware of the entire process of creation as well as whatever is there in the book.
Thank you so much. I think it took me through my journey of losing my father. And I think this is what it is. It's with COVID, we all have been connected through our emotions. We have all these as we talk about artificial intelligence going on, but then this emotional connect that you have is only possible with humans and through writing, through creativity. It is a solace, as you said. It is a therapy by itself, and you chose this path. Um, since we are definitely talking about the book, I would like to ask you one very technical question. Why a nonfiction and not a fiction? Um, in the fiction, grief could have been hidden, and yet you have very profoundly expressed it, very boldly expressed it. And I think as an audience of the poetry that you recited, I could completely emotionally connect. So I understand the need of being very personal at certain point, yet it is out to the public or out to the audience who can completely connect. So I mean that is the side of creativity of or the author that you have in you. But my basic question is why not? Why is it nonfiction and not a fiction?
The fact, this is the first time I am talking openly about my crisis. I haven't, I have shared this with very few people in my life. It takes a lot of courage on my part to come to a live show and talk about this, talk about my father, whom I am still deeply connected. And I feel that as long as I am, my parents are. Uh, and going by that, when I try to, think back, think back to the time of my first memory of my father, has always been waking up early in the morning and seeing him either writing something or reading something. I have hardly found him reading storybooks. I have always found him reading either a travelogue or autobiographies or letters or essays. So when I decided, that I'll do a book, the idea of writing a story where, of course, I could have easily write about myself in a fictional way, I decided to follow the genre that he would love to read, and I'm sure that he's seeing it and he's reading it at the same time. So that's why a collection of essays and not a collection of stories. But yes, since he always wanted me to write in Bangla, someday maybe a fiction or a poem or something like that.
And on a personal note here, it's a request that is there any chance of this book being in English? Since you are an English professor down the road, and I know it's a huge task, yet people like us who are not very fluent in reading in Bangla, even though I understand and speak some Bangla, broken Bangla, একটু একটু বলতে পারি, কিন্তু have you ever thought of that? For the sake of the audience's benefit and having a wider audience, rather I would just say that.
Yes, I was, when I was doing this, as I said, that I wasn't very concerned with the marketing or with the, what do I say, audience, larger audience, because now if I do it, then I would take all these things into consideration. But it was a journey of healing, and it was a very emotional journey. It was giving importance to what my father would have preferred, not what the world would have preferred. But yes, someday, if this book touches upon the different aspects of academic studies, then who knows? Maybe someday I would think of a translation, or maybe doing a part two of it. Let's see.
And I wish you all the best for that.
Thank
At least considering that option, because again, I feel like this book is, as you said, a chronicle of so much information. It's not.
you.
It is the journey of your strife is there, but then you have acknowledged the role of various people into this book, and that's the beauty of it. That's the inclusiveness, as I said. during the COVID time that we learned it's not just us, it's everybody's life that has been touched by this pandemic. And
True.
as a host of this show, it gives me immense pride since I had followed, I started my journey as hosting these shows just to bring in the awareness all across the world, where we talked about COVID, how it is affecting through all the three phases. What was the preparation in India, how it affected places like Canada, Africa. You know, we have had these shows for a long time. And then at this moment, it's just like completing a circle where I'm coming back to the healing from that wound, the deep wound that COVID caused all of us across the globe. So to me, it is also healing because I have gone through strides of a lot of losses as a therapist, as a medical professional, as well as on a personal level. And then I find people like you, women, strong women, I would call you strong, objective, a person with objective. Even now, you have hidden your emotional roller coaster and put people's strife so that in down the generations, say in 30 years, if anything bad happens, they will have a book to refer to. So that is what we women are. And I do not want to discriminate men, but I think as a woman, since we are celebrating Women's Day, our femininity and the masculine, you know, we have both the energies, but our energies is always about taking care of everyone. Okay, and that's what you have shown in this book is you have not only taken care of your own wounds, but you are healing everybody, and you are also acknowledging other people's effort, as you mentioned. I have read some parts of your books, but I'm very keen to read the whole book. And I would like to talk a little bit about the online resources that you have posted and it has been acknowledged. If you would like to just kind of touch upon that, please.
Um, yes, I this was a time when we were and as a teacher also, we were going through online teaching process and all. And I have observed most of the uh, essays that, topics which I have included in the book has been observed by me in close quarters. I have friends in all the sections of the society, from all the sections, and I have been listening to their stories, their experiences, and of course, my primary experience as a teacher, my students. I was posted in another college at that time. I was posted in Kolkata, in Government Girls General Degree College, which was which was completely a different locale. It's located in Mominpur. My students, it's a girls' college, by the way, and my students were undergoing daily struggles. I felt that it is important to talk about struggles. I tried to in some of my online articles, which you have read, and I'm so thankful to you that you have taken out your time and have read those. But at the same time, it was also the need of the time to speak of the winning streak from the struggles. It's not only about the struggles, but it's also about coming out of the struggles. And that is how I have also wrapped my book. It was essential for me to speak of the COVID warriors, those unacknowledged, ordinary men and women who were running from pillar to post for strangers. They did not care about their affiliations. They were selflessly. So, as a society, I know there are exceptions, I know there are exceptional cases, but mostly what came out was the desire to live. And this is what makes us warriors, not only COVID warriors, but it makes us warriors of life. The last section, I have included a poem by uh, the celebrated poet Purnendu Putri. He has his the volumes of conversational poems called Kathopokothon. And there's one very pertinent poem with which his volume 1 starts. And I have tried to talk about the fact that it is of primary need that we discuss life. We discuss the little pleasures of winning over, of defeating a demon, a mammoth task that required a collective effort. See, when we are talking of Women's Day, can a woman survive without a man? Can a man survive without a woman? If we say no, we don't need a man, then I don't think that it is correct. If the men says that we don't require a woman, that is also not correct. I think a proper balance in life, in society, in each and every corner requires this balance. And let us not forget in this Women's Day that it is a day as much for the women as for the men. Though I personally, if you ask me, I do not believe in the concept of celebrating a particular day, but it is also important to acknowledge the struggles that we as human beings we face, we wade, and ultimately we survive in our lives. So when this conversation is going on, and this pair of lovers, they are talking about the losses one after another, and one is getting angry because they are discussing death. Then the other says, okay, fine, if you do not want to discuss death, let us discuss life. And here we are actually discussing life. So my book uh, may have begun from the passing away of my father, but it aims not to discuss death. It aims to discuss the survival. It aims to discuss how to rise from the ashes. So I would like to bring in the phoenix image. We know the bird phoenix. It flies closer to the sun, it gets burnt, and then it renews itself from the ashes. So let us all try to renew ourselves from our own ashes. That's what I wanted to, say the final words in this book. So few lines from Purnendu Kotri. I'm sorry I'm taking up a lot of time, but when it comes to Bangla Kobita, I am actually weighed. তোমার পৌঁছাতে এত দেরি হলো, পথে ভিড় ছিল, আমারও পৌঁছাতে একটু দেরি হলো, সব পথই ফাটা, পথে এত ভিড় ছিল কেন, সব যাত্রা কার মৃত্যু হলো, আমাদের চেনা কেউ না তো, এই তো সেদিন যোগা গেল, দৌড়ে গেল, এখনো ফিরল না, আগে পরে শঙ্কর বিমল, আমাদের যাকে যাকে প্রয়োজন তারাই পালায়, দূরের সমুদ্রে চলে যায়, কালো নুলিয়ারা যায় যেরকম বিলীনের দিকে, আরও যাবে, আমরাও যাব, লোকাল ট্রেনের মতো বেশ ঘন ঘন আসছে যাচ্ছে মৃত্যু আজকাল। তোমার কেমন মৃত্যু ভালো লাগে? আমি সেরিব্রাল? মৃত্যুর কথায় রাগ হলো? মৃত্যুর প্রসঙ্গ তবে থাক, জীবনের আলোচনা হোক। So it is very essential to discuss, life, জীবনের আলোচনা. If there is no life, then there is no discussion. There won't be any Women's Day or any day as such.
Thank you. That's very wonderfully said. I know we would like to continue our conversation, but due to the lack of time, and we got to fit, just stay at a certain time period. So I would definitely like to have another interview in the near future on a personal level. This is basically more about the book. And since you have talked a lot about your father, I would like to just end it by talking about what he did for life. What did he his name, if you would like to mention his name and his profession. And I know he has profoundly touched you through his work, and you constantly mention about him um, as a person that we relate to. But however, as a daughter, I would personally I would request you to mention his name, which I think we should, and talk a little bit about his profession and what he did for a living. And um, as I have seen, he has completely transformed you, or has influenced you in such a positive manner that you took your sorrows into this huge triumph of being able to write a book and help others. And basically, I would like to know what he did.
This is the most difficult question. If you ask a daughter to speak about her father, any daughter on earth would just go on. So I'll just put it in few lines. My father was born into a very humble family, and he went on to become a surgeon. He did his medical college, in Kolkata, and he chose to stay in India. Uh, he was having a comfortable life in Kolkata, but again he chose to come down to this suburban town called Bardhaman, where a new medical college was coming up, and he joined the anatomy and the surgical department here in Bardhaman, and he lived his life here all through. He was more a social worker uh, than a doctor, and if you ask me, my greatest regret is to tell you that he died without a diagnosis, because it was Durga Puja and all the laboratories were closed. I could not get a test done. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think the social work aspect of him is he's already given that to you in the form of a genetics. We carry our parents' karma, and I already see that in you. Even though it's a very individual journey, you have incorporated the whole world into your book, and I appreciate that. And a woman, as such, is capable of doing that. She always this mother earth, like the mother earth, she embodies pain, she embodies sorrow, she embodies success, she enables success in others, whether it's your husband, your son, your daughter, and in various shapes and forms. As you said, we need a man and a woman to run this world. It's not about who is superior, it's about working hand in hand in this day and age, and just optimizing our opportunities and our challenges to a way where we do something good in life. And you're already doing that. I congratulate you on this amazing book.
Thank you for having me here, and um, I have not taken any effort on my own. You have found out, and you have, decided to talk about this book. It's been, I'm celebrating almost the anniversary of its launch. Last year it was launched, and this year I'm having this show. So thank you very much for having me here on this day, and it's a daughter's day more than a woman's day, and since my father and of course and my mother, they always lived and they're still living, so I celebrate life more than death.
And as a parent myself, I would state that they are very proud of you today. So you are doing an amazing job as a woman, and as a mother, a daughter, a sister, and in every which way role you play. And of course, being a professor where the students look up to you, I'm hoping this interview will touch them in their growing age, where they can take the positivity of life, and in spite of all the struggles, they can do better with their lives, because that's what this interview is all about: how to make the best out of the roller coaster ride that life is. So I would like to end this show, and thank you so much for accepting my invitation, and all the best for your book. And I look forward to your reading your book in English down the road. But it is definitely a chronicle of information that could be used as a research, as you said. So I
Yes.
would like to promote this interview in all the social media platform so that we
Thank
can have reach. And again, I would encourage my audience to read this book. So having
Thank
said
you.
that,
Thank you so much. My father uh, loved songs, and I remember him humming to the tunes of Tagore while operating. I could hear. So, on my thank you note to you, I would like to read a short poem by a contemporary poet, Joydeep Lahiri, from his collection. Again, it's another collection which is remarkable, and it does talk about death, but along with other things. It's called Mrittur Ake Bake, and he writes, আজ একটা গান হয়ে যাক, আলাপ থেকে আমরা কথার দাম্পত্য মাপ্য, অন্তরায় এসে জমে থাকবে অনধিকার অভিমানের দল, বিস্তারে শুধু কুয়াশার মিলিয়ে যাওয়া, কোনো পাহাড় বা নদীর ছবির পৃথিবী নয়, আমরা কারখানার ধোঁয়া ওঠা সাইরেনের সানায়ে অথবা ব্যস্ত শহরের বুকে থাকব। আজ একটা গান বড় দরকার, স্থায়ী বা সঞ্চারী স্বপ্ন দেখবে, পেট ভরে খেয়ে শীতের ওম নিক না হয়, যেখানে অভোগের আবহে মিলিয়ে যাবে রাত, ভোরের পাখিরা আমাদের সঙ্গেই হেঁটে যাবে। আজ একটা গান হয়ে যাক অথবা স্তব্ধ জীবন। So let us sing the song of life. Thank you, Dr. Patnaik.
thank you, Dr. Antara Mukherjee. All the best to you, and may all of us live a very happy, healthy, and wonderful lives. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Namaskar.